It's 11:30 at night. You're whacking your willy, looking up big booty anime bitches on R34. You get the sudden urge to look up the Persona 5 Lovers Arcana and Tamaki. She's as gorgeous as she is underage. And tonight, you want to see how far you can push your degeneracy until even God above starts to think little of you. Sex off! So you take a look at the art, and you're thinking, yeah, I could get behind this. But after your post nut, you're thinking about it again. You're like, really? Did I really fucking enjoy that? I did. I liked it even. That's how I felt about Change. Developed in RPG Maker VX and made by genius Chinese furry developer Dragon Snow. A lot of people hate Change, but I don't. Here's why. So I was on an image board, minding my own business, and I see this dumb fucking picture of a black plush wolf, and I'm thinking, that reminds me of my Monster Hunter World plushies. My favorite being the Brachydios, because he's got a little cape, but that's besides the point. So I'm checking out the thread, I'm looking at the webms, I'm looking at the GIFs, the images, all the videos, and it's hit me pretty hard. This is one of those furry fetish games, which I just so happen to be a fan of the genre. Now, I'm a fan of these games for all the reasons except for wanting to jerk off to the characters. That's not me. I'm not a furry. But I do enjoy looking at the developers' perspectives and stories. The writer's barely disguised fetish, which is not barely disguised at all, because it's the premise of the game. It's really interesting to see how they can go in depth with it. How far they stretch it. That's the wrong terms of words because we're going to play the game soon. How far they can push it. Also the wrong term of words. And how much they can transform to move the plot around of the story. It's really cool, alright? Because it shows me just how far being horny can influence a gamer and a developer. How far are you willing to go to get a little bit of fun? That's really cool. But now I think it's time we talk about the actual game. Change goes really fucking hard with its aesthetic and atmosphere. You see it as soon as you boot up the game, and it's super appreciable. Look at this. You got new life, old memories, give up. Like, what the fuck? It's frightening. It's scary. It's creepy. It does its job. Meanwhile, the operation guide shows you how to play the game. But then you see a little dude in the middle. He's just fucking there evaluating his life choices that led up to this moment. You go on old memories, and it shows your save data. It's your experiences. There is no point in reliving the past. That's so fucking awesome. Why? It's just flavor text, but it works. Now listen, I took like around 8 hours to beat this game, 6.8. Others take like 20, maybe because they're actually jerking off to the game. Maybe they're actually doing the rooting themselves. Nobody knows. I used a guide because it was difficult, but I can easily see 20 hours without a guide. But enough about that. Let's actually start the game. As soon as you boot it up, you get a couple warnings. This game is not real. This game will not give player any hints, which I'm fine with. It makes it so you have a nice long game, especially if you're doing it blind. I did not. But the thing with that, a lot of games have it so you have to check every single thing, and that sucks. It's not fun. Big example would be Mario on the Music Box. Wait up. This nigga don't know Mario on the Music Box? Hit RPG indie classic Kino? You don't know? Look at this shit. It's fucking great. Look at it. I'm about to pull a promo. I fucking hate Mario in the Music Box. It's so complicated and convoluted. I used the guide and I still couldn't figure out where to go. It was just random nonsense. Go get the paper, go get the notes, go give it to the ghost, go out to the back, go out to this door. Oh, there's a fake door. Oh, game over. It's not fun. Mario's not even Mario. He's an anime character. On that topic, fuck Mario in the Music Box. He can't even bing bing wahoo. What the fuck? He can't bing. Surprisingly enough, there's a difficulty options. You got easy mode. Easy mode. You got normal mode. We're going with normal because we're not casuals. And because easy locks shit. But enough of that. Let's play the game. Let's get serious. Our little buddy has, certainly. Look at that. He made a mess of himself. After exploring the room for a little bit, we come across a vent,
Don't say it.
and after investigation, we hear noises coming from the inside. It's our first enemy, a white glob of cum, or as the game likes to say, living milk pudding. After we trap it in the vents, we go back and explore the area it came from. There's a button, we push it, and we leave the room. That's gonna be the basic gameplay loop for the rest of the game. You're gonna get a puzzle, you're gonna be stuck in a room, you're gonna have to solve the puzzle, you push a button or input a code, and then you're able to leave. But you might be asking, wait a minute, this is an H game, isn't it? Where's the furry fetish? Here it is.
Wow, I'm upset. I'm so upset. I'm gonna get raped. What do I do? Okay, I can maybe run up. Son of a bitch. Oh no, it comes with CGs. Oh.
It's like I said, this is your basic bread and butter RPG Maker H game type of style. You get bad ends, that's how you get your CGs to jerk off with. I'm not gonna go over all the rooms, just some that stick with me. By the way, the ending status when you get killed is called transferred. Just a little bit of knowledge. Let's skip ahead a bit.
What the fuck?
Fucking Capcom normalizing QuickTime events. The next section of the game, there's a little robot dude who you quickly grow fond of. He'll be important later, so treat him right. As we go on, we find these black latex creatures that, lo and behold, they look like the plush, but they're not the plush. They're just random black beasts. You see, in this game, you have black latex creatures and you have white latex creatures. Black latex creatures act as individuals. They have no hive mind. White latex creatures are a hive mind. But after taking the knot several times, we finally get past the first latex beasts. The next room has these flying black bats. They move when you move, but only when you move, so you can take your time and be patient with this room. This leads up to the very first boss. First boss of the game is a giant dragon in a room full of other smaller dragons. It's basically the previous rooms you've done, but every now and then, green diamonds will come from the floor, and if they touch you, you turn into a dragon. It's kind of difficult and a huge pain in the ass. It's actually a humongous pain in the ass. Remember when I said I used a guide? The guide had the way to beat the boss, but the RNG mechanic of the room made it so 4 out of 5 times I still got killed. This entire boss segment is just figuring out a pattern and trying to work with it so you can beat the boss. It's such bullshit because it's just RNG. That's all it is. You're hoping to God that you don't step on those green diamonds, those fucking Mountain Dew Cheeto emeralds that turn you into a furry dragon, alright? Also, you think the boss is like a girl, right? Because he's got like titties, see? But no, it's a dude. It explicitly says he later on. I don't think there's a single female character in Changed. That's really gay. After you beat the boss, he grants you access to the next room. However, that's not where the end of my gripe comes from. Listen, you just beat the boss. It took you like 40 minutes to get past it, find a route, do all that. But you haven't saved yet. Which means if you die, you're gonna go back to that checkpoint before the boss. And this is where my real fucking issue with the game comes from. It's the fact that it's difficult. It's a hard game. And that makes it fun, but also pisses me off because I don't want to see the CGs. I'm not a furry. That's not the incentive. It's more punishing than it is rewarding. Like right here. Look, I walked straight into the crystal because I didn't think I can go through the black crystal. I'd never seen black crystals before. That was new. This is new. I had never seen that before. The player was not used to that. And you could say it's the same as the green one, but I'm a bitch, so I'm gonna complain. Listen, I should have went through rather than going upward. It was the perspective of the game that made me go into the boss. So now I had to fight the boss again. It's annoying like that. There's no automatic save right after the boss. They did fix that in the kind of sequel, but we'll get to that later. Let's move on. So after evading the black latex creatures in their den, we find them waiting for you lined up in the hallway to the next room. Now at this point, main character's walking slower than normal. He's real sluggish like, right? Not the same normal walk speed as before. That's because the way Colin, that's his main character name by the way, Colin is portrayed as a normal man. He's just some dude, he's fucking thrown a facility, and that's that. We don't know what's going on. All we know is that you're just a normal dude. And while this is a fetish game, I feel like it's really cool in the way it describes its elements like that. It gives this feeling of hopelessness, but also kind of hope. You know, perseverance. In the face of so many dangers and fears, you finally couldn't hold on any longer. A normal man gone through so many strange things. You don't even have the strength to walk anymore. You wish you were dreaming, but you know that was just foolish hope. Remember when I said about the flavor text at the beginning of the video? This is where I was fully engaged and locked in for the long run. Change is the way it describes everything around it. You're just powerless for all of this. The only thing that can save you is the help of these other latex creatures. It's really fucked up. It's dire. It's dystopian. You know, what's going on with the outside world? Why are you in this facility? Are you a medical patient? What's going on? It's really cool. And fuck, when you see the flavor text, when you see the CGs of Colin eating the fruit, you know, yeah, it's obviously sexual. Look at that fucking pose. But you feel for the little dude, you know? You're like, damn, like fucking enjoy that tangerine or whatever the fuck it is. My point is, I really enjoyed Change, and I was hooked in for the long run. To get to the next room, we need to open the door with a code. What's the code? It's probably in the next room. So we go down to the next room, and after dodging Aaron from Attack on Titan, we find the code. It's moon spelled at a 90-degree angle. Now you might be wondering, well, how'd you figure that out? It's in a book in the right cabinet of the shelf. Now listen, I took a look at every nook and cranny to heart, right? I took that warning to heart, and I was looking at all the fucking books, trying to understand, like, oh, maybe there's a secret, maybe there's a pattern. Like, no, the code is in a different room, and I'm retarded. This game is difficult for the mentally ill such as myself. That's it. So after entering the code, we enter the next room, and this is where it gets Kino. Alright? You thought the dragon segment was bad? This is where shit pops off. I'm gonna skip ahead a little bit, but just get a familiar layout. You know, get familiar with it, because you're really not gonna like what happens next. After going through all the box puzzles, you save and you go to the front door, and you find our first major mini boss. The game says you gotta find a place to hide, right? So what do? I hide. I think like, okay, you know, it's probably just gonna time out after a bit, but like, no, you gotta go back to the tree and hide behind it. If you're sane, your first instinct would be to save, because you just got away from the boss and you didn't want to deal with that. But no, you gotta hide behind the tree. Nobody fucking knows that. It doesn't say anywhere to do that. It just says hide. After hiding the first time and it doesn't work that time, why would I think that it would hide behind the tree and work? Why make it a tree in the first place? Why not put a locker? They do that later. Why not do it here? But after 30 minutes of pure attempts, I finally get the golden run, and I hide behind the tree, as I should have. We head back upwards, and look who we find here. It's the plush. He's fucking there, reading a book. is Purro. He's not like the other latex creatures. He's an individual. He's able to move around and interact with things himself. He doesn't need anything. He doesn't act as an animal. He acts as a sentient, intellectual being. Purro is probably the character that's made a lot of dudes furries. I don't see it. Like, I get it. It's a cute character, but really, nigga? You fucking... This gets you off? This is gonna be the bowling pin for me. But my point is, this is a pivotal character. This is the furry genre mascot when you think about it. Is that important? No. Is it cool to look back and see where all that fucking furry shit comes from? Yeah, I think it's dope. You know, this is very historical. This is a game that started a lot of fucked up fetishes for a lot of people. It's also the game that kickstarted a bunch of fucked up fetish games for those people. Like I said, I play these games to see what makes people get off. You could call me fucking weird for that, but I find it fascinating to see what people spunk off to, you know? What they whack their willy, what they get their willy afton going. Shit like that is so fascinating and interesting. I might just be a pervert. I don't know. It's either or. Anyways, he tells us the code to open the door in the previous room where we got the other code. And after doing that, we finally get to the confrontation with the monster previously. This time it's no hold bars. Alright? It's a race. You gotta get past and through everything and lock that bitch inside. It's actually a lot easier than the previous run. Of course, they can't make it that easy, so they put a quick time event to make sure you're paying attention. But afterwards, you head on back to Purro, and he tells you where to go next. Or so you think. Purro doesn't really give a shit about you. You're just a human. Purro's doing his own thing. He's an individual. He cares little about Colin. And I think that's kind of cool, you know, having this very strong character, because all these latex monsters, all they have to do is touch you, and then that's it. You're transferred. I can't believe I fucking said that. But Purro doesn't care about that. His pursuit is knowledge, and he's interested in you as a human being. He wants to see how far you can push yourself intellectually, because he's read so much about you. And that's really cool. I kind of dig that about Purro's character. He's kind of selfish. So you have to look around and figure out how to escape. We eventually do find a way to get out. There's this little entrance by the vents, but it's being blocked by some foxes. So we go to the next room, we trigger the fox, get out as soon as possible, and then make our way past. This takes us to the ventilation system, which in turn leads to Purro's hideout. We get the option to chill with Purro for a bit, so we do, and he tells us about his dreams of wanting to leave the facility. He wants to go out and he wants to see the world for what it is. But before that, we gotta solve this fucking box puzzle, man. Like, dude, there's no way to know where to go. There's a map, but what does the little arrow mean? It doesn't give any indication whatsoever. It's so cryptic, but there's a secret entrance. You find the secret entrance, and then we're into the next area. You go down a hallway. You enter a room with like no light, little light. It's one of those Cerulean cave shits. You know, all the Zubats, and you do a kind of long box puzzle. Not really. It leads up to a mini boss with a snow leopard. You escape the snow leopard while doing some push block shit, you know, in the midst of it. And you enter a room. We see Purro through a vent, and he's starting to take more of an interest in us. He's starting to understand that humans are kind of interesting. He leaves, and we gotta solve a code. Do stay on guard. The snow leopard, it looks like it can't jump across, but it can. It's actually kind of cool. The interesting thing about this is that when she takes you, she doesn't change. She stays the same. Does that mean that she is a former human that was transferred already? I don't know. I just think it's kind of interesting. Dragon Snow hitting us with that Kino world building. There's already furries out there that have been transferred. Now that's cool. I just fucking said that. Alright. The next room's gimmick is kind of cool. You gotta stay in front of the vents.
Don't pick it, don't
so you can breathe fresh air. Because for some reason, I guess the disease that turns you to a furry is like leaking in the air. I don't know. But it's a pretty nice little like segment. I just thought it was interesting. We go through the room a little more and we get cornered by a toad-line pitbull. But Purro comes out and saves us just in time. Purro has taken an interest in us. That's kind of cool. He's starting to think more of us as a human. You know, humanity as a whole is pretty strong. And Purro's starting to understand that. Keep that in mind for later. The next section is sharks and water. You're in the electrical.
Sauce.
You're trying to open up the doors and shit. It's more of the same. The new mechanic is that when you go in the water, the enemies aggro onto you. So you gotta do some kind of luring and baiting so you can kind of kite the enemies and get past. You're doing that, and then you're flipping switches to turn on lights and activate doors. It's pretty simple stuff. After activating the rightmost door, we go back with Purro. But not before we gotta fight one last mini boss. It's the leader of the sharks. Wait a minute. I know that guy. I've seen that guy before. He was in the Steam fan art. Yeah. Also, I kind of love how Colin's just fucking... His sprite just looks like he's fucking done with everything when he's in the water. It's pretty neat. We meet up with Purro, and he's astonished. He's surprised that even though we look physically weak, we're able to accomplish so many amazing feats. Being able to turn on all the lights, turn on the powers, open the doors. Purro is starting to respect us, and he's starting to understand more about us. You know, they get to know each other. There's a nice little sweet homosexual CG. They're both males. See, that's the fucking thing about this game. There's no females. And as a straight male, it's hard for me to have any sexual tension with two males like that. Like, that's not me. I'm not homosexual. If you enjoy this, good for you. But that's not for me. It's cute, but it's not sexual. And this is a fetish game. I require at least some female representation. Alright? It's just not right otherwise. But we go through the doors, and finally we're at the last fucking hallmark. We gotta fight a boss. The boss is a little more intricate than the others. You're not supposed to avoid them. You're more or less supposed to kite them into the boss, since after a couple seconds they'll speed through, which is pretty cool. I think it's a nice change up from the usual avoid and shit. This is neat. Kind of like you're fighting back, but not really. I mean, it's still tough as fuck, but after you get past that, it gets into the real Kino storytelling. You turn on the generator, and Colin looks at the computer. The facility has been running on internal power for the last 5 years, and the only reason you woke up was because the facility ran out of power to generate it. You've been stuck inside for 5 years. No one else is in the building, just you. So Colin's starting to lose hope, but we gotta move on. Remember when I said that this was an easily 20-hour long game? Well, the reason for that is because there's multiple endings, and you kinda gotta trial and error to find your way through it. If you played easy, you're automatically locked into the bad end. That's it. There's no shits about it, you know? You don't get no chance. If you play normal, you gotta suck Purro's cock.
Right now! Yes! Yes!
If you want to get the good end. You gotta say thank you, you gotta hang out with him, and you gotta wake him up and chill on his tail. It's kinda gay, because personally, I really don't give a fuck about Purro. He's just there. Like, I get it. If you're gay, if you're a furry, he's fucking adorable. I get that. You know, there's the connection right there. But I have no desire for that. The idea that the dystopian future that I live in is plagued by cancer-ridden patients, furries, and parasites, that's fucking awesome and scary at the same time. I want more of that. I don't want to hang out with fucking Puro. That's not the end of the game. Because unfortunately for me, I wanted to see how it all ended. So I went back, I hit the requirements this time, and I made it past. If you're wondering what the bad end is, Puro eats you to get your nutrients. You turn into a monster, and you become a submissive beta bitch for Puro. That's pretty much it. So I guess he still cares about you, but at the same time, you're a beta bitch. Jamie, roll the next clip. We thank Puro for giving us the code. We chill with him in his beanbag chair. We wake him up, and we rest with him after getting wet. After all that, we get a continuation of the story. We're no longer locked into the bad end. Now, instead of Puro eating you, he says he wants to come with us to the outside world. We have joined forces with Puro. We go outside to the Bellaterra, and automatically Puro's like, yo, we gotta go to the white hives, you know, we gotta talk to them whiteys. And the thing with the fucking Cracker Barrel employees is that they're fucking zombies, dude. Like, they're a hive, they're symbiotes, and they're trying to get Colin. And it's really fucked up because the entire room is bullshit, and it actually took me an hour. This is probably the most annoying part of the game, minus the dragon boss. This is fucking awful, dog. I hate it. This entire section sucks ball sacks, but it's like the final part of the game. This is like the end, so we're almost there. You know, as you can see, the white latex layer feels like an actual living parasitic room. Because that's kind of what these latex beasts are. They're parasites. You know, for some reason they were made due to a virus back then. I don't know. It's probably in the lore. If you want to know what happens, probably play the game yourself. You know, I'm not a big lore dude. It's cool, but I'm not gonna go out of my way to figure it out. You know, that's like, it's too much work for a fetish game, right? But this entire fucking area took me like an hour. It was a pain in the ass trying to figure out a route, because you just gotta get lucky. There's like 4 waves. You go through the first wave, you kite them. You go through the second wave, you kite them. You go through the third wave, and there's a mad dash to the door in the front, because if you don't get there soon enough, they'll gank you. And it's a real pain in the ass because they block you off. But this took me a while, and because the room is entirely white, I had a little fun. I did a little bit. Here's like some snippets of what I did on my own time. You know, after we get through that, there's a lab and some other lore, but I don't want to talk about that. Puro starts helping us out. You know, he lures out the white latex beasts in the next room that we have to go through, and makes it so it's easy for us to just go by. You know, Puro is being helpful. He's being useful. So what do? We say thank you, right? You can rely on him. Puro is dependable. But in reality, not really. He's still a jobber. He's still a fucking weak ass wolf, right? Because look, leading up to this right now is another fucking chase sequence with this lion that's a pain in the ass. It's another fucking, you gotta hide. How you gonna hide? You gotta go back. You gotta go back where? To the locker. Not the tree this time, the locker. The entire fucking time you're dodging the white latex beast that Pearl lured out earlier. Except now you gotta do that. And you gotta fucking kite the lion. You gotta run back. It's just fucking, at this point, I was done with the game. You know, I'm like, you know, I just want to fucking beat it. Just for the sake of beating it. Because I've gotten so far. It's fucking, it's like the subway fallacy. It's like, you either wait for the fucking bus or you leave and it comes. And then all the time you wasted, it was for nothing. I will say, the fact they added, you know, now's not a good time. It's fucking, the locker is a better place. They gave you a destination to hide. So, I feel like Dragon Snow was like, you know, the fucking players are gonna be fucking pissed off about the tree thing. You fucking better make it more clear for the next run. So they put the locker, and they fucking, oh, you tried to advance? Well, guess what? You gotta go back to the locker, bitch. Get moving, right? And the thing is that the lion doesn't straight up beeline it to you, right? He's like fucking, oh fuck, this nigga's, you know, he's indecisive. Like, what's he gonna do? Like, all right, he's moving. Let's go again. So. It's a little more lenient, and I like that about it. You know, Dragon Snow's learning as he develops. It's really cool. As the fucking game goes on, you see a little bit of improvements on Dragon Snow's shit, whether it be the AI, whether it be the designs of the monsters and the backgrounds. But that's just me rambling. I could ramble about this shit for fucking ever. I'll do it at the end. My final thoughts. Anyways, after you're done with the line, you hit the fucking dude in the locker. After you hit him in the locker, you go back through the white, and then you go into the room. And oh, lo and behold, it's this fucking asshole scientist, right? What's he gonna do? Well, he's gonna date rape you and throw you in a room, right? Remember the little Roomba from earlier? Well, guess what? El Transporter is actually your best friend in this segment because you're gonna need to use him to help you out, alright? After you help him out, you go back to the room. Oh fuck, look at that. Did you not do the certain requirements for the secret ending? Did you not do the certain requirements for the next route? Well, I hope you did, because you gotta suck Pearl's dick more.
Right now! Yes!
If you didn't, guess what? You gotta go back and figure it out. You see, that's where the time goes on. That's probably why people have more fucking hours than 7 or so. I use the guide, you know, so I'm not innocent. I'm not pure. This was a blind run with a guide for help. I would never fucking figure out all the things you have to do on my own. So 20-hour playtime's not, you know, it's not too alien for me to think that would be the usual average playtime. But if you do get everything you need to save Pearl, instead of Pearl getting slashed in the head with a hammer and you turning into a submissive, breedable bitch for the white scientist dude, instead you fight back and Pearl helps you out. Now this is towards the end of the game, right? This is the final stretch. This is like pretty much it. This is it. The next part of the game consists of you and Pearl going on a little adventure together. You go into a lab that's got lore. I didn't read any of it, or not too much of it. I'm sure it explains some shit. If you're interested in it, go for it. And then you gotta avoid some white latex beasts or something, and they're fucking. You gotta use Pearl as a platform. He'll throw you across. It's really cool and neat, but I don't care anymore. The next little area is like black latex room. There's like red diamonds on the floor. They transform you if you touch them. It's neat little fucking maze. You gotta do it in one go or something. You can't spend too much time. It's alright. For a final challenge, it's alright. You know, it's a lot less difficult than what you've gone through. But for a final challenge, this is fine. And then afterwards, finally, the endings. There's 3 endings, right? So, you can either stay in the facility because you got AIDS. You got super magical furry AIDS. You're gonna spread your disease. If you go out there, there's a chance you're gonna spread your disease to like the public and shit. And everybody's gonna get super AIDS again. If you stay, Pearl's like, oh, I thought we had something special, you know, like fucking SpongeBob, right? And if you stay, you get like the stay ending. But what I thought was super fucking dope, like I don't think anyone's ever done this before, what you gotta think out the box. But if you escape, right? You're like, oh, I can't choose. Oh no, I can't. I'm indecisive. You know, the doctor's like, well, fucking, why don't I just make you a furry like me? It'll cure your AIDS. You'll be able to go outside with Pearl, and you can be with your lover, right? And then that's the game, right? Those are the 3 endings. You got leave and kill everybody outside with your super AIDS. Stay in here and let Pearl die by himself outside. Or turn into a furry and fucking live the rest of your life with Pearl. And that's the end of the game, right? There's nothing more after that, story-wise. There's something called Changed Special, which is an updated version of the game with better graphics, more CGs for every kill, and a different story. So, naturally, I tried it out, right? And let me tell you something. It's such a fucking downgrade from the OG Change, right? Okay, let me give you my reasons for that. Changed, it has an interesting story. Pearl, you know, he's very selfish. He doesn't give a fuck about you at the beginning. But in Changed Special Edition, Pearl's like sucking your dick automatically. He's checking out your ass. He's like, that's a fat ass, right? It's more homosexual. It's more gay. It's essentially what a fetish game would be if there was no game or story whatsoever. It's just, hey, you know, there's some CGs, you'll jerk off to that. It's like, hey, it's Pearl, haha, fluffy boy, like fucking, I bet you like kissing boys. It's shit like that. And like, playing the initial Change, you know, I genuinely enjoyed Change. That's why I'm making this fucking video. I've been making this video for like 6 months. I played it like half a year ago, and I'm barely finishing it today. Like fucking June 11th. It's June 11th. That's something related. I will say, I like that he took into consideration autosaves, so you don't have to fucking, after every boss, get butt fucked, you know. Automatically saves before a boss, you know, automatically saves after the boss, or if there's like a save spot. There's nothing that feels cheap. There's no cheap kills anymore. This is a lot easier. There's a lot better quality of life game, and that's good. I like that Dragon still fixed up his issues. Other than the story, the gameplay is a lot better. You know, the movement's a lot better. You don't accidentally press certain commands that move you to a certain space that you don't want to be in. Like that happened in the OG Change all the time. This one's a lot better. You can control it a lot easier. I do like the white outlines. It kind of reminds me of Homestuck, but that's for another day. Before I give my closing thoughts, I want to show off a cool Change fan game I found. It's called Change Berserk. It's really dope. Kind of cool. I just thought I'd show it off just in case, you know, anybody actually gives a shit about this show. Final thoughts. I like Changed. I think it's really cool, story-wise, game-wise. I think Dragon Snow is a very interesting individual. I've heard rumors about him, but I'll get to that at the end because I don't really think they're accurate or not. But if they are, you know, it makes sense on how he fucking made a game that's like this. Like, how the fuck do you come up with a game idea like that? Like, how does someone acquire said fetish if not through abuse? Listen, the way the story goes is, you know, being a Chinese game developer and gay, it's kind of hard to live your life, you know, when people are shunning you and abusing you. Apparently, the dude was abused as a kid, which is really fucked up, you know. That's nothing to laugh about. Abuse is not funny, especially if it's done in a horrific way that traumatizes a man to where he believes that he wants to give up on his life and let someone else control it for him. And automatically, when you hear that story, it starts to make sense, you know? It starts to make reasoning on why Changed is the way it is. The way the parasites work, they take over your body. You get a new mindset, you get a new mentality. You're there but not really. It's not you in control. You've changed. Trademark. So it makes a lot of sense in the theory. The theory being, you know, Dragon Snow is an abused homosexual with a fucked up fetish, and he's Chinese. It's fucked up, but it makes sense on how he got the game developed and stuff and written. That's besides the point. The game is really well made. Change Special has got the quality of life update, but it's a fetish game through and through. I hope success for whatever Dragon Snow makes in the future. If you're listening to this and you're still fucking 40 minutes in, damn, nigga, that's pretty impressive. But listen, I give Changed a 5 out of 10. 5 because the story is really well done. A 0 because the art is fucking awful. It's fetish furry shit, and I don't like furry stuff. I'm a kimono enjoyer, right? No, that's mean. That's mean. I give it a 6. Because the story is really well done. No, you know what? Fuck that. Fuck that ranking. Listen, it's gonna get a 5 in story and atmosphere, right? Like I said, the atmosphere is really fucking good and changed. The story is gonna get a 3 because it's kind of all over the place. There's holes. If you look at it closely, there's holes. Like, what the fuck? How'd the virus start? Give us some composition on that. The art gets a 3 because it's furry, and I don't enjoy furry. But I do like the fetish. I think it's interesting on how people acquire it. Like, you don't just suddenly want to fuck anthropomorphs, you know, animals and shit. That's weird. But also interesting. I would give the music a 0 because the music is fucking awful. It's just like 8-beat dudes, and that's not interesting. Like, I don't make music, right? I'm not talented, but if you're gonna make a game, you know, kind of put effort into the music. Still, maybe that's a little hard, but that's my ranking. Overall, the game gets like an 8 out of 15, which is a 5 out of 10, which is pretty good for a fetish game. It's only $6. I put 6.8 hours into it. I made this fucking video on it, so it must be interesting. So despite the low rank, you know, the low score, it's still a good game. I'd say 5 is a pretty good game, you know? It's not perfect at a 10. It's not dog shit at a 0. It's enjoyable. Yeah. Yeah.